Today is just one of those days where we can go out and do some landscape photography because why not? It's a beautiful day here in Southern California. Stick around and let's jump right into doing some amazing POV landscape photography. What's up, y'all? It's Project Photography back on the video, and today we got an incredible beach shoot here at Treasure Island Beach here in Laguna, and it's an incredible place. I mean, look at this. This place is absolutely gorgeous. Never seen a place so beautiful in my life, and it's a great day to do some amazing landscape photography. But this series of videos at POV photography is something that I've really enjoyed doing. And I've really enjoyed making these videos for you guys because I love to share my experiences as a landscape photographer with you. But I want to take a step further and showing you guys my landscape photography experiences by actually going through a full walkthrough of me actually taking the photo and going out and editing it and so on. With these videos, it's mainly just me going out and shooting, so you don't get to see the behind the scenes post-processing aspect of it. And that's something that's really important to me and my landscape photography, something I want to share with you guys. In the next video, I'm going to be going through and giving you a full walkthrough from on location to post-processing in the actual studio, so you can see what the entire process of my landscape photography looks like, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys. That's what the second part of this video is going to be. Check out next week, that's where it's going to be, so make sure you subscribe. But for today, we have Treasure Island Beach, and from what I've seen so far, it's absolutely incredible. So we have a bit of time before the sun actually sets and to start actually taking photos. So for now, let's just walk around, see what kind of compositions that would be best suited for us, and yeah, let's just enjoy the video. All right, also something that I picked up about this landscape that I actually really enjoy is the fact that there's a lot of open areas here to actually go ahead and shoot some landscape photography. I think for this shoot, maybe staying up here might be the move, but we'll have to see, go down there and look and see what the rest of the beach actually looks like. So I think for me, shooting at the area that I said I was gonna shoot at is probably the best move, considering how the lighting is. I'm not sure how the light's gonna turn out, to be honest. We're gonna be go ahead and shooting in a few minutes here. So I hope you enjoy the POV photography, and let's go do some landscape photography. What's up, y'all? We are now behind the scenes, behind the camera, and we're gonna be talking about and discussing how I get each of these photos and what's going through my mind when I'm actually taking this. So right here, I'm shooting this pretty wide open. I'm taking a pretty long exposure, getting a 10-stop ND filter on, and we capture this photo. And this is not a bad photo at all, but the thing is, there is a lot of vignetting on the outside. So what I do here is I zoom in just a little bit, probably going to around 16 millimeters or so, just to get rid of the vignetting and so on. And I think this actually does a pretty good job of mitigating that. As you can tell, there's not too much of a big difference, but the vignetting is definitely limited. And we jump right here to the edited version, which I actually really like. I think it's really nice to get rid of a lot of the color cast that's going on, a lot of vignetting, and I think it just turns out to be a really great photo. Now in this shoot, I actually do a little bit of a different editing style. There's two main things I'm changing. First of all, the way I use the dehazing slider is to definitely slide it to the right to increase the dehazing effect. But in this shoot, in this editing style, I actually tried to use it in the opposite direction. So I'm actually adding some haze to the photo because this showcases a bit of natural light. And I'm using some of the radial tools to kind of exaggerate certain elements by using the radial tool, and highlighting certain elements by using the dehazing effect, and also increasing the temperature to kind of add a bit of artificial sunlight and exaggerate certain subject matter that I want to showcase off. So right here, what I'm doing is taking off the 10-stop, putting on a 3-stop, just so we can get some long or shorter exposures, more like half a second to a second.
so we can showcase that movement in the water, and that's exactly what we see here. So this image is a 1.6 second exposure, so we can get a lot of that moving water, showcase a lot of movement, and I think it just comes out for a really interesting photo. So this is kind of the idea that we're going for when actually shooting this landscape image. And right here is where I capture the image that I actually want to go and edit, do a really good job at timing it. And this is the image unedited that we come out with. And this is the edited image that we come out with. As you can see, there's a good amount of contrast. I was trying to make sure there's a balance between the foreground and the background in terms of lighting and exposure. And remember that dehazing that I kind of talked about? Well, the other side, the more hazing effect that I did. You can see that kind of in the background there with the shoreline, the cliffside, where I actually use that exact editing technique back there. And I think it looks great. It makes the cliffside stand out. And I think it just turns out to be a really great image. So now we go ahead and move on. We're going to pick up here. Actually move over to this rock area, more closer to the shoreline, of course. But right here, we're going to keep on moving forward. And I like this a lot. And actually what we're going to be doing here is taking a foreground image as well as combining with the background image. We're going to do something called focus stacking, where we take different exposures where we have the pinpoint focus on different aspects of the actual landscape. So we're going to take a foreground focus. So right here is the foreground element in focus. And then we move to the midground. So it's probably around a little bit past the foreground, probably that rock you see right in the middle of the frame. So we're going to take that, midground exposure where it's in focus. And then we're going to move on to the background. And what we're going to do after that is actually combine these photos in post-production to get it so that we have a image which is in focus from the top to the bottom. And this is great for foreground elements in particular. But I don't actually use that image to edit it because I just did not care for the composition. I actually want to go ahead and move a lot lower to the ground, which is what you see with them doing the tripod. And the reason for this is that we can exaggerate the foreground element just a little bit more, make sure that it's a standout subject matter in the actual frame. And I'm not going to bore you with taking, the 3 exposures. I kind of speed it up here, so I go ahead and take the foreground image, the midground, as well as the background. And as you can see here, we got the foreground, we get the midground in this image, and then the background in the last one. And then we go ahead and combine it in post, make sure we focus stack it. And then we go ahead and edit it and so on. And that same technique I talked about, guys, where I'm hazing the subject matter that I wanted to haze. And you can see right here, I'm actually using that technique on the foreground element because I really feel like this is a standout part of the image. Kind of create some artificial sunlight. And I think it's really gorgeous. I'm really in love with this new, technique that I discovered. I didn't actually discover it myself. I watched this guy named Andy Mumford, and he kind of showcased it a bit. And for me, I really have a specific editing style, and this was able to, lighten it up a little and create a little bit of unique contrast in the image. And I think it does a really good job. So we're going to go ahead and move on here. So we're going to go ahead and pick up, and what I want to do is actually capture the shoreline, more of a overall landscape image. So we're going to go ahead and showcase and move forward. And right here, I kind of see that I like this, sort of rock area. I think this would be a great place to actually shoot my landscape. What I want to do is actually create some leading lines between the actual shoreline as well as the subject matter in the background, which is the cliff side. I think it would help leave your eyes up to the cliff. And there's this guy that's in the sky. I'm not sure what it's called, but he has a parachute and a glider. So he's kind of moving along there. So I kind of wait for him to move out of the way so then I could take the actual image that I want to take. Now it's going to take a little bit of time, but in the meantime, I take a few exposures to kind of time it up right. Now this isn't a very long exposure at all. This is about a 1 second, half a second shutter speed. And we're going to go ahead and edit it here. I really love with this photo, guys. I mean, the colors just pop. You're going to kind of see at the end, I talk about how the colors I feel like just weren't there, but looking back at it, I feel like we did a really good job with the colors. I feel like there's a lot of contrast in the image. I love the movement in the actual water. I think it's a really fantastic image. So go ahead and move on here. We're going to pick up and actually move to that cliffside that I talked about earlier in the video. And I really like that area a lot. And I saw the sun is going down, so I want to make sure to go ahead and capture that in a timely manner. So I go ahead and move up there, go up the stairs, go to the actual location that I wanted to get to. And what we're going to do here is actually take quite a long exposure. The first exposure that we take is going to be around 2 minutes. So what we're going to do is take off the filter that I have on right now, which is probably a 3-stop, and slap on a 10-stop ND filter. And what it's going to allow us to do is to reduce the shutter speed, but also maintaining the aperture as well as the ISO that we want. So this is a very long exposure. I mean, I'm playing this at 40 times the actual speed. And you can see here, there's incredible movement in the actual sky and a very, glossed over look in the actual water. You can see there's no people because they're all sort of moving, so they're going to be blurred out in the image. You don't even see that. So it's actually not a bad composition. This isn't as good as I want it to be. I felt like it could have been better, but that's just what happens sometimes. So this is the image that I actually like personally. This is a 1:30 exposure, and this is the edited version, taking off that hazing effect. And I just really feel like, the colors are all right to me. I feel like colors should have been better that day. It just didn't pan out the way I thought. So that's what happens. So now let's jump back to the video where I'm gonna give a little dialogue about what's going on.
All right, y'all, so it is now about 6:20, give or take. So I got about 20 minutes until blue hour. So I'm probably gonna head up here. This is where I took my first few shots and finish here. This is where I'm gonna finish pretty much my POV stuff, because I really feel like this is kind of the shot I wanna get. And I think this is the best area to do it. And also too, people are leaving, so it gives me a chance to get the composition I wanted with this. So yeah, I think it should be good. And because the light's going down pretty fast, I think that's where we should end it. So yeah, let's get right back to shooting.
All right, y'all, we are now back on the camera, back behind the scenes. And what we're doing is going back to the first location that I first shot at, because I felt like that would have been a really nice spot to actually capture the image that I want. I felt like, there's really nice colors now. It's really soft lighting for sure, because now we're moving closer to blue hour. So what I do is slap on a 6-stop ND filter, and I believe this is going to be about a 30-ish second long exposure, something like that. I play this about 8 times, so you can kind of guesstimate how long this exposure is. But here, we're going to take that long exposure so we get that nice movement in the water, kind of gloss it over. And I think this is actually quite a nice image. I feel like the composition could have been better. But that's the first image that I take, and then I go ahead and take a second one, which this one is going to be the one that I'm going ahead and edit. So go ahead and speed it up here, move through, and this is the actual image that we end up taking. This is unedited, kind of bringing up the exposure a little bit. And this is the actual edited version. I think this is actually really nice. So remember how I talked about how I added some haze in the photos, previous ones? I did the opposite here. I dehazed it a lot to exaggerate the sky a lot more, bring out a lot more colors. And I think this does a really good job. You can see the sky is really exaggerated, really nice. I feel like you can see a lot of that movement. But I actually really like how the soft, light is on the different elements. Like for example, the cliffside is definitely nice and soft, not overwhelming at all. And that's why I love shooting at this time of day. You get the best light. So I'll go ahead and move on here. And what I want to actually do is, I talk about before in the actual shoot that I actually really liked this sort of arch that we have here. And we're going to do the same technique that I kind of mentioned earlier with focus stacking. And we're going to go ahead and extend the legs here, mainly because this tide pool is quite large, but also the archway in the back would have been cut off a lot if I used a much lower to the ground camera. So for me, having it much higher is good. It's not going to exaggerate the foreground as much, but because it's so large, I really don't feel like that's going to be an issue. So I go ahead and take my 3 images here, one in the foreground, one mid, and one background. But in actual post-production, in terms of focus stacking, I actually only used 2 because my camera was much higher off the ground. I did not need 3 images to focus stack. So this is the final image that we come out with, and I think it's actually pretty decent. I don't think the lighting is all that great, but I do feel like the composition is pretty good. I really wish the archway in the background could have been a little more prominent, but I just feel like it's not. But not a bad image at all. I think it does exactly what I needed to do. That is pretty much the end of me actually shooting my landscape photography. I hope you guys enjoyed it quite a bit. I think I got some very good photos. This is probably some portfolio worthy stuff. So these are the 3 photos that I really liked a lot. I love the movement in this photo with the water. I just loved the lighting. And this one in particular is probably one of my favorites. I just love how the foreground is so beautiful. I mean, just look at that, guys. You can see the sea anemone. You can see the tide pool. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and the lighting is just stunning. And last off, we have this image right here, which I took a lot earlier. And I love this photo because this kind of shows the totality of the actual landscape, shows the entire beach, showcase off a lot of the water, lovely sky, and also lovely movement in the actual foreground. So let me know what was your guys' favorite photo of this shoot. And yeah, let's get right back to the video.
All right, y'all, so I just finished shooting, and it's officially blue hour right now, but it's too dark out here. I mean, like, look at this. This is crazy. I usually say to shoot, between blue hour and golden hour, but it's too dark for this. I think it's mainly because of the clouds overhead, but that's just how it goes sometimes. I'm gonna wrap it up in the car and talk to you guys when I get there. All right, y'all, that is it for today. I thought we actually got some really incredible photos. I really thoroughly enjoyed that location to shoot, but I think the negative is that there's just a ton of people there. So it's hard to kind of navigate around that and get photos without people. Personally, I don't think people are that interesting in landscape images, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed the photos that I got. I really think that in terms of today, the lighting was all right. I really feel like that the colors didn't pop as much. I wish there was a lot more vibrant colors, different colors and so on. I would have liked to see some purple, some pink in there, some nice red. Just didn't get that today. So anyways, guys, let me know what was your favorite photo down in the comment section down below. If you guys are interested in seeing the full from on location to post-production process, that entire video, make sure to subscribe. Stay tuned for that because that's gonna be coming next week. I'm really excited for that video. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for experiencing the world with me today. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.